Hey. Hello, world. You want to give them the hello?
Hi.
So we're here and we're presenting to you comic books. I'm Pete. That's the boy. That's the turtle. What do we gotta call this?
Comic presenting show?
You are the expert YouTuber in the house. Why don't you tell us about that first? nightnorth.gaming@gmail.
nightnorth.gaming@gmail.com.
And what about it?
It's named after my online name, and Night, which is my dad's canine, and North, which is the dog over there, the old one, the old dog.
What do you do?
Oh,
You're the expert YouTuber. We're here presenting a YouTube.
Okay.
So why don't you tell them what you YouTube?
Okay, I YouTube gaming. I'm a gamer. Okay.
Let's play?
Yes, let's play.
What Let's Play do we play?
Terraria. Sometimes, every once in a while, I play WWE 2K17. And other times, I might just present something new for you guys. But apparently, if you guys do watch my videos, my latest video I made was the rabbits video. And apparently, people that make rabbits would not let me.
They've got a licensing deal where they don't want Let's Players playing their game. So,
yeah.
He can't Rabbids. Rabbids Invasion is a no-go on Let's Play.
Yep. Sorry guys, if you really enjoyed that video, that's the only one we're gonna make.
We're here to talk comics, so why don't we give people our bona fides? What are our qualifications to talk about comics?
We need to first have read the story or the comic, whatever.
Yeah, but why should they listen to us and not just any other boobs on TV?
Because people out there who like comics and they haven't read that many comics, but they still love comics, this is the place for them, or they just want to learn more about stuff.
Because we're nerds, right? Well, okay, no. Nerds are smart, geeks are devoted, dweebs are losers. No offense to all the dweebs out there. So, we're probably more geekish, right? We're not so nerdish, we're geekish. But I did stay at a Holiday Inn last night, so we do have a little bit of qualifications. Here's my perspective
He's the geek, I'm the nerd.
I'm trying to get the perspective of a 10-year-old, because I think a lot of people who started in comics were 10 years old when they started, and that's the perspective that we all lost from our childhood. So I kind of want to get the point of view of somebody developing into the world of comics. When I was your age, I know I was bugging my parents to go down to the only gas station in the area that had a comics rack, because we're an hour away from any mall. We're in a rural area. We're an hour away from any mall. You can't just walk into anywhere. There's no bookstore to get comics. So I would have them drive me down to the gas station to get the old Laird and Eastman Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle comics.
Oh, yeah.
They had the originals back then.
Yeah.
And after a while, I wasn't the only 10-year-old that realized that's where to get turtle comics, so it was very unreliable to get comics, and there's not a lot of resources around here.
Yeah.
There wasn't. There is now.
Yeah, there is now.
You can go to Scarecrow Games in Millsboro, Delaware, if you happen to be in the lower Delaware area, right?
Right.
Scarecrows, you like Scarecrows? Scarecrows is the best place in the area to go get your comics. So you got a lot of more resources than I had back when I was 10 years old.
Yeah,
So, no, go ahead.
I do have more resources than him. When he was 10 years old, they didn't have that many resources because he's like 35 now. That was 25 years ago. Things have changed a lot in 25 years.
A lot. We're still an hour away from the closest mall.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That hasn't changed.
that has not changed. But when I got into comics, I was there. The most exciting thing for me was the Deaths of Superman, the World Without a Superman, the Return of Superman comics. That was huge for me back in '94. And My brother used to buy a lot of comics. He used to bring home a lot of dollar store comics. And well, back then it was probably 25 cents, and you'd go in there, and he got a lot of Silver Surfer, which he turned me on to, Excalibur, Visionaries, Strike Force, a lot of stuff that you wouldn't have expected to hit big, and it did hit big, and they were huge things. And then, like every teenager, I got into Marvel, right? Mm-hmm. And then they started cloning Peter Parker about 1,000 times, and I got smart enough to get out of Marvel, right?
Yep.
You'll run into your Marvel phase. Don't worry about it. But comic books is a huge world. It's not just DC and Marvel taking the landscape. It's Image. It's Mirage. It's a huge world out there.
Background person.
But I think you and I really started in the same area when we get to comics. We both brought home. You brought home recently, when you were 9, the Garfield comic strip books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Tell us about Garfield a little bit.
I love Garfield.
He loves Garfield. Garfield is the Calvin and Hobbes for 10-year-olds.
Yep.
And I would bring home the same Garfield comic strip from the library. And what other comic strips are you into? Comic books, comic areas.
I'd say sometimes back in when I was like 7 years old, 6, 7, you used to read me comics. I really like that.
Yeah.
But apparently those Garfield comics I'm reading, I am so addicted that I'm always wanting to read the new ones, and then once I read them, I really like them. Like my most recent Garfield one, it's Garfield Feeds the Kitty, and well, it's basically most of it is him eating, well, in different ways. There is action, there's excitement, there's mice, there's spiders getting squished, and squishy people. So, which is also spiders. And one of the parts that I kind of like is when it's near Christmas time. All the ornaments are hung up, the tree is hung up, and we get the perspective of the bulb. So, or Garfield, whatever. So, first we see him smiling, and then his teeth are showing, and then basically he just says something I forgot. I haven't read that part much, but basically it's a good book.
You want perspective, I've got to turn you on to Garfield minus Garfield, which is just Dave Arbuckle wandering around his house that he hasn't decorated ever, and we find out he's just a crazy man.
Yep.
That's perspective. That's a good one to get in.
Because one, he is trying to get a date with Liz, and
he's got nobody to talk to but his cat.
Yeah, and apparently he has such bad days that he either has a bad face day, or he removes a thread from his car, the entire car collapses in a heap. When he brushes his teeth, they catch on fire, and something else, but I forgot. So basically,
you got into Tiny Titans. It's one of the comics I used to read to you. You got into Superman, because I would read you a lot of the post-crisis Superman, right? And what other things have you gotten on your own?
I think I've gotten like a fourth reader Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles book.
Mm-hmm.
It's pretty good. It's like a comic, and it's like a chapter comic book. There is no chapters. It's just as big as a comic book.
Yeah.
I mean, a chapter 2.
It's in that comic book type feeling, right? That comic book world, like the Star Wars Academy and maybe Captain Underpants, and maybe to a lot lesser degree the Origami Yoda, which is not a comic book at all, but it's a good reader, right? Yeah. So
I've also gotten into Captain Underpants a bit, and what was the other name?
Big Nate,
Big
Star
Nate?
Wars Academy.
Yeah, stuff like that. So basically, we're both comic book.
Well, comic books is a gateway drug to bigger books, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Eventually, you start reading Virginia Woolf, and you're like, right? And it all started with comic books.
Right.
Right. So we're actually here not to talk about Garfield or Big Nate or any of that.
Or any.
We're here to talk about the Flash Rebirth because as of the making of this video, we have 0 YouTube subscribers, which shouldn't be such a big shock.
I subscribe.
No, you subscribe to me, not the Night North Comics.
Oh.
Yeah, the Night North vidcast that we're doing. So, we have 0 subscribers, so I don't mind going back a year because the Flash Rebirth is a year old, right? Mm-hmm. So, because this is a good point to step into DC is to get into the Rebirth. Let me go over a little bit of the history of the Flash for you. So, the Flash goes all through the Golden Age and Bronze Age of comics with Barry Allen, and he gets to 1987, which is the Crisis of Infinite Earth, when DC kind of says, we have no continuity in our books, we're going to force continuity into it. And Barry Allen, very heroically at the Crisis of Infinite Earth, saves the day. He gets rid of the Hairbringer and the Anti-Monitor and saves Alexander Luthor Jr. And the Flash jumps into the Time Force and saves all the universe from blowing up. In 1987, there's no Barry Allen. Wally West takes over as the Flash, and he's not as good, he's not as powerful, he's not as fast, and he really has a big inferior complex about it. We go almost, well, over 20 years to 2009 until Barry Allen comes back.
Right.
He steps through the vortex as if it's only been a second to him. Barry Allen just said, oh, I was time traveling. But that's actually in 2008, the final crisis #2. He steps out, everybody's happy to see Barry back. In 2009, he takes over his comic back. The Flash re-emerges as a comic. Barry Allen decides, I have all these powers, I know how to run through time now, I'm going to go save my mom. Which ends up being a bad idea because we get Flashpoint, he goes back and saves his mom. Bruce Wayne dies, Thomas Wayne lives. Superman doesn't get founded by the Kents, he gets founded by the government, he becomes a government experience. So in the future, Aquaman and Wonder Woman are fighting for world supremacy, all because the Flash wanted to save his mom. He was set up by Zoom. He didn't realize how much it was going to mess up the time screen. Yeah.
So basically what he's explaining right now is basically all the history of the Flash. Mm-hmm. And then after he does that...
all the history of the Flash in my life.
Right, in his life. And then I think we might be going over Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 of Flash the Rebirth.
Let's just start with the first one, Flash Rebirth #1.
Okay. First chapter of it.
In 2016, the Flash comes back, and what they're telling us is from 2000 Flashpoint to right now, which is 10 years in the comic book world but only 5 years in real life, disappeared from everybody's memory. A lot of things stayed. The younger Wally West stayed. The second Wally West stayed.
Yeah.
So a lot of things have stayed. So we get to Flash Rebirth. Barry Allen, who is a forensics detective, is on scene for a murder, and what happens?
So yeah, like he said, they're on the scene for a murderer, and then the Flash comes out, and Zoom appears in his mind, and then he's trying to strangle Zoom and it's through a version.
Get out of here, Zoom!
Yeah, exactly, in a vortex, and then there's this weird character that I have no idea who it is. Probably Dad does. It's probably Zoom in another perspective, like a maniac killer perspective, because I think he said that he's going to kill us all. I mean, in the comic book, he's going to kill us all.
Eobard Thawne, yeah, that's Zoom. That's all Zoom. Yeah.
Okay. Mm-hmm. He even has blood on his fists.
But as we get to Flash Rebirth, Zoom is actually locked away in Iron Heights. He's not getting out anytime soon.
Right.
So Barry Allen is trying to solve this case, and somebody else appears. Who appears in his mind?
Wally West.
Wally West, the old Flash, used to be Kid Flash.
So let me talk about it. Mm-hmm. So Wally West and Flash both got struck by lightning. at the same time?
No.
Okay, not at the same time. But so Wally appears in his mind, starts yabbing, talking, and then Flash is like, Wally. And then Wally appears out of nowhere.
Wally actually appears. He walks right through this time force, the speed force he walks through. And Wally gives the Flash perspective. He tells him, Wally remembers the last 10 years. Wally remembers the New 52 era, where nobody else does. It's like when the Flash remembered history at Flashpoint, but nobody else remembered history. So Wally West remembers the history, and he tells the Flash about everything that happened at Flashpoint, about Thomas Wayne and all that. The Flash doesn't remember any of this. He's just going about his normal day. And this is really a good stepping off point if you're just getting into comics like a 10-year-old. If you're just getting into DC, this is a good point. And we started with the Flash because every time there's a reboot, it seems to center around the Flash. And when we look at the Flash, he is the pivotal character here. Well, New Flash. And what happens to New Flash is they don't really tell you in this comic. I think they tell you in the next page in the issue 1. Is Wally West Flash goes to the Titans, right? And there's a lot of mystery there. So when we get to the end of Rebirth number 1, do you remember what happens?
All I remember.
Do you remember him and Batman?
Yeah, I remember that.
So him and Batman are trying to figure out what happened to the last 10 years. And what does Batman show him?
A smiley face with blood on it.
A smiley face button with blood on it.
Yeah.
And Wally feels like somebody's watching them, right?
And Batman thinks it's the Joker.
Well, yeah, he thinks it's the Joker, but Batman doesn't have the hindsight of the viewers. We all can readily identify this as a Watchmen button. And the Watchmen world is starting to come in line with the continuity of DC, and I think that's very exciting. We're probably not going to get a Horshack out of it. He's still blowed up across Antarctica in little bits and pieces. But it looks like Dr. Manhattan might be having something to do with the memory loss of all the DC characters, which I think is exciting.
Except for Wally West, because he remembers everything.
So I think to catch up here, this is a good time to get into the Rebirth.
Yep.
They're starting to put out a lot of the trade paperbacks, so it's very easy to catch up to DC. And this is a pivotal time, and we're going to start coming out with release day videos because it's a dark days for DC Comics. The Dark Days miniseries is starting to come out. It'll come out this summer. And we're going to find out a lot. We're going to find out more about this button, right?
Yep.
And if you want to get into it, it's probably a good idea to watch The Watchmen. Who watches The Watchmen? Watchers watch The Watchmen.
Watchmen.
Catch up on The Watchmen. The Watchmen are going to be a very pivotal part of DC going forward. That's just my prediction.
It's Watchmen section.
I want to give a shout out. Joshua Williams is the writer of this comic, right? He wrote before this Deathstroke, Justice League, Suicide Squad. With Image, he wrote with Nailbit, Birthright, and Ghosted. Give a shout out to the artist, Carmine D. Giandamancio, right? Who did some very good artwork throughout the series. I would say Dave Johnson's alt covers are very, very dynamic in the style that they're done. So what about the Flash? Is the Flash good? Should our people be reading the Flash? They should be reading the Flash. This is a good starting out point. Should we continue with the Flash? Should we go on with Lightning Strikes, which is the first volume of the trade paperback?
I think we should.
It's a good catching up point to get to the Dark Days miniseries that DC is going to be doing. What are some other things that we're going to be doing going forward? Mr. Miracle comic is restarting. That is a wonderful nostalgic series. What else are we going to be getting into before we get to Dark Days? Do you have anything in mind?
Yeah.
Yeah, go ahead.
I think we should be getting into if there is a comic called. Is there a comic called Superman Rebirth?
There is. Yeah.
Then I think we should do that.
We might look into that.
And I have a shout out for someone.
I'll get there. One more thing. I want to talk about Marvel had their Civil Wars or whatever, but DC has a bigger war than the Civil War going on, and I believe that is the Teen Titans versus Teen Titans Go crowd. There are definitely two different camps onto which is the best Teen Titans. I am obviously the Teen Titans generation, and you are the Teen Titans Go generation, right? So I think we should definitively, for our viewers, say who the best Teen Titans is. We're not going to do it today. We got to read those comics. We got to catch them up on it before we get there.
You got to read every single comic out there.
Well, we're not going to read every single comic out there. We do have a little bit of. Yeah. Okay. Where's the shout out, boy?
My shout out is the person all the way over there, my mommy.
Next week's special guest. Yes.
Yeah. She gets a shout out for actually 20 years ago learning about all this stuff, and for now actually knowing how to start this video. So basically she's the reason why we're talking right now. Yes,
this is a team effort. I know all about comics, you know all about YouTube, she knows all about pushing a record button, which she spent years in television production learning how to do. Yeah, right?
It's so funny.
Yeah, it's funny for you. You're not going to get slapped in a couple of minutes. Well, she won't come on screen, so we're safe right here. Yeah. All right.
Darling.
We went a little bit long in our initial video. We are going to try and get a lot of clips out for Flash in general coming up.
Yep.
So we're excited to have you come along with us on this journey. So, I'm Pete. That's the boy.
I'm Mitchell.
The turtle ran off. Look up Mitchell Laura, nightnorth.gaming@gmail to catch up on some Let's Play Terraria videos.
And if you do not know how to spell my name, it is MITCHELL space LORAH.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll see if we can't get a little banner here that has your name on it. You see it? You see the
Right here.
Mitchell Laura? You want it over there? Yeah. And drop us a line. We're going to need all your help for this. Tell us what to read. We're going to tell you what to read. Drop us a line at KVidcast on Twitter. That's the best way to reach us right now. I'm going to be dropping a line to Scarecrow Games. I'm going to leave it in the description. Check out Scarecrow Games in Millsboro. They are the best in our area. Yeah?
Yep.
We good to go?
Yep. Thank you all for watching. Don't forget to leave a like and subscribe for more comic book videos. And see you all later.
Bye.
Bye.